Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kubernetes Cluster API Azure Provider, our weekly meeting and office hours. It's I have to scroll down to remember. It's April 25th. We do this every Thursday. Thanks for being here. As you're probably well aware, we are a sub-project of Kubernetes SIG Cluster Lifecycle interest group. Therefore, we abide by the general rules of conduct of the community, which are effectively, please be nice to each other, allow other people a chance to participate, try to use the raise hand button, and let's make this a welcoming place for anyone who wants to join us. If you don't have access to the document or anything like that, there's some instructions at the top about how to get write access to this document I'm showing. Also, this is the time where if anyone here is new and wants to introduce themselves and maybe say why they're here, this is a great time to do that. So let me be quiet for 30 seconds, and if anyone wants to do that, please feel free. I will take that as a no. Please, if you wouldn't mind, add your names to the attendee list up here, and we just have a record of who is here, and people who need each other can network later, perhaps. All right, let's move on to open discussion. I put the first thing on here, which is wondering if we could should do a patch release. We don't have any major bug fixes in there, but one user was interested in seeing that we bump Helm simply because we do call Helm in some of the tests. And I think in Tilt and there's some security issues, it seems very unlikely that we could be exploited, but of course it always does right before you get hacked. So that was and then also we bumped CAPI to 164. So I guess that's most of what's in a patch release. But unless anyone has objections or thinks there's a better timing for it, I was planning to do both patch releases this morning. I guess is what I'm saying. Sound good? Any feedback? Okay. We also haven't done a patch release in 2 weeks, so seems like our regular cadence is about that often, if not more so. All right. Next thing on the agenda, Nolan, I forgot his last name, but brought up in Slack right before this that he wasn't able to attend, but was hoping we could maybe visit this issue and see if we have any opinions. I don't know if we have time to digest it here in this meeting, but maybe we could just glance at it and so we're all aware. When you use CAPC within OpenShift and so when internal and external API endpoints. Does anyone have any comments? I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Should we assign this a priority or something? Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I haven't totally understood exactly what this means, but I mean, on the surface, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't want this. So yeah, if they would like to come with a PR, I think that would be welcome.
Yeah, I
guess.
think
Sorry, go ahead, Will.
go ahead. Yeah, they said they would like work on it, and I don't see anything like we wouldn't want this, but yeah, I'm not sure if someone else who has more experience with load balancer stuff knows if anything, if this could be a problem or not.
Not that I'm aware of. So sounds like we should give them some encouragement here.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Unless we have any other comments on that, let's move on to Willie's issue here.
Yeah. I think we just wanted to reach a consensus as a project. Like, are we gonna support the scenario where someone has like a resource group or name that they need to use, but it's not compliant with Kubernetes? Um, I think this is kind of a unique case, but um, I'm not sure if this is like work that we want to commit to um, or maintain. And I just want to bring it up to the community. Like we are as a team, we kind of discussed this already, but just want to see if there's opinions from the community. John?
So I think there's two different classes of issue here. One of them is like in KEBZ resources, you can specify a resource group name.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started migrating stuff to ASO, we started kind of making an assumption that that name is also the name of the Kubernetes resource, which if you have a resource group name that wasn't a KEBZ resource that had an underscore in it, that would have worked before. And since ASO, that no longer works. So I think we should fix those regressions.
Mm-hmm.
For new things, I could take or leave whether or not, like if it's not causing a regression, I don't see a huge need to handle every single kind of string you can throw in a name. Because we
Okay.
can always open that up later too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something we should fix then if it's a regression. Is that specific to just resource group names? Or are there others that are affected?
I mean, it's anytime we create a Kubernetes resource, which is an ASO resource. So that would mean resource groups and virtual networks, subnets, kind of anything that uses ASO.
Okay.
Just trying to catch up with this.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, thank you for taking notes.
yeah, I think that's a good I think that's a good approach if we can split the hair. Because certainly a regression is something we always want to fix, but I don't know. I'm not really sure what to do here. I am very sympathetic with the idea that someone's system or employer or whatever requires specific resource group names. I'm pretty sure we had a very similar issue in the old tool, AKS Engine, and I remember that we did the mapping. We did essentially what they're talking about, like force it to lowercase and substitute underscores. And that by and large, and that basically worked. It felt a little fragile, and I think there were ways that people effectively worked around it and broke things. But I don't know. I guess I don't have a strong opinion on the second part of this. David.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, the resource group is a bit of a, usually often like a security boundary for folks. So I think in that case, there can be, I guess, more of a case for us to be able to support that. But for all the other things, that we're creating net new, I don't know. I feel like we could just enforce the naming standard.
Yeah. Um, so is that, yeah, go ahead, John.
I will throw in one other plug for the ASO API stuff that I recently started, where if you're defining the whole ASO resource right in your CabZ resource, you can choose whatever names you want for anything. So this issue shouldn't happen there. So if this is super blocking you, then keep an eye out for that stuff once it becomes usable.
That'd be great. Yeah, I think still we need to fix this for the non-ASO API, but that'd be good for users who need to um have this right now.
Cool.
All right, cool.
So
I think, yeah. Sorry,
clear,
I think that's
clear
all.
as mud, Willie?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be working on this.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully that clarified something.
Yeah, because I was a little confused, like what used to work and what didn't. Because I think I went to an old version and tested naming the cluster something like wrong, but like naming the whole cluster like that it didn't ever work, but it was just the thing with the resource group name and VNet name and that kind of thing. David?
Yeah, I was also going to say, I think, when you create the cluster and it immediately spits back and doesn't allow the provision, I think that's an acceptable thing. But I think in the case, as I mentioned in the issue, the extension part, going through the provisioning process and then failing later, right? That's where I would say that's a really bad user experience, right? Because then you're having to debug and troubleshoot, and we already know that it wouldn't have worked at the start. So I would say that that's something we should try and be consistent on. And I would say that's across the board, regardless of whether we're going to choose to, rename things or whatever and just make them work. We at least at a minimum should make it so that it fails fast and people get a meaningful message back that we don't support this right away before provisioning it. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think since we're gonna like make it compatible anyways, I'll just do that, but otherwise it should have had webhook validation.
Right? Should move on to your next issue, Willie.
Yeah, this one's just a quick question, like based on what we define as like a breaking change in the API. Like I think basically there's a bug where the name of the virtual network was included in the template spec, but it shouldn't be. Like the virtual network name should not be shared across clusters, and that was causing a bug with cluster class. So I think we can't remove the name field entirely from the CRD because that would be a breaking API change. But just like for the sake of development and clarity and the code, like we move like the name field out from like the virtual network class spec into just the virtual network struct. And this doesn't cause any differences in the CRD, but it is technically a breaking API change, so I'm not sure what everyone's opinions are on that. And does this actually make it more clear? Because names should never be shared across clusters, so that's why we're moving it out of the template spec. And yeah, John?
Is the resource group name kind of in the same boat where you can actually specify it in a template where we don't want that? Because if it is, I guess I would vote. I mean, whatever we do with name, we should also do with resource group. Otherwise, we kind of end up in this weird spot where like it's half fixed.
No, resource group here, this is not shared. This is out of the class spec.
So in the CRD, that resource group field actually is defined. So I think there's something weird with how those types are set up.
Yeah, because the issue was like the template type is referencing the managed control plane VNet, not the managed control plane VNet class spec. So that's why name was still showing up, even though we made this change, there's nothing changed in the CRD. So there's just like a mistake on how this was set up. So yeah, that's why the resource group string is also in the template CRD. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I guess my vote is to not only move name. I would vote to either move name and resource group, or just or nothing at all. So at
But
least in
like
the Go
name,
types.
but name and resource group is already out of the class spec. So I think it's
Okay,
either
yeah, I see.
yeah.
Cool. So
Um,
yeah, I guess I'm +1.
Yeah,
yeah,
just to keep it consistent with research group.
yeah, and my naive understanding at this point, I'm +1 because, obviously we don't want to break the API, but there are times when it breaks and it's fine. And it sounds like this is one of those, and we as humans know to ignore the API diff checker in some cases. This seems reasonable. Go ahead, John.
I would also vote to, in the release note, make it clear that this is a breaking change for users of the Go types. Because as it stands right now, the release note just isn't super clear. So I would vote to make this a little more visible there.
What do you mean by like breaking Go types?
So if I specify one of these things like in a Go program,
Oh, yeah.
then as soon as you update CabZ, it's not going to compile anymore. So just to make that piece known, I don't think that's an issue because I think it's fairly easy to fix once people know what happened, but I think we should just make sure people know what happened there.
Got it. And yeah, this is just back when I implemented machine pool cluster class support. There was some just ways I set the types up wrong. And I think we just have to deal with that because of non-breaking. We shouldn't be breaking the API. But this will get it working at least. So yeah.
Cool. Good work, Willie.
Thanks. Yeah. I wish I caught onto this earlier before introducing it to the API.
Yeah, it's always easy to see in hindsight, but who knows? So if we don't have any more questions about that, that is the end of the agenda. We want to do a quick milestone review or call it good? I guess we can at least fly over the milestone and see where we are. May 7th. So, wow, that's really came up pretty quick. That's still the plan. I mean, we still have a couple weeks. Go out of rest is getting close. This has been a long, annoying thing, but thanks for that review, John. We only have it in 4 files now, and there's just one little struct we're using, so I think I can see how to get rid of that. Okay, this we've talked about this compute gallery thing before. This is still ongoing, but really takes a backseat to some other publishing related stuff that I'm doing that isn't really captured here. I put a couple of issues relevant to the work I'm actually doing on our board, but they're not strictly speaking in here. I'll see if one of them can be added. Support OOT credential provider. I'm not sure what is going on here. Oh yeah. So we merged all that. I wonder, is there still to do? Does anyone know? Otherwise, I'm probably going to ask the submitter what work is still. Any updates on this one? U.S. government? John, go ahead.
The update is that there is no update on this, so I guess I would vote
Okay.
to maybe boot that from the milestone.
That's good. Should I don't know what our convention is now. Are we doing milestone next or just removing it from the milestone and letting it float? What do you guys think is better?
I mean, this is blocked on that ASO thing that David linked there, so I would maybe vote to just remove any milestone from it if
Okay.
it's not super clear.
Can you do that with a chat ops command, milestone nothing, or should I have to do it here?
I think, yeah, I don't know of a slash command for it. I think you just clear it.
There should be something. Well, UX for workload identity for provider Azure, we are effectively all kind of swarming on stuff related to this. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could put like the blocked label on the previous issue, and also I was just wondering what the ASO issue was that it's blocked on. Like, will that partially fix it or enable something to be fixed? Actually, I guess there's no block label. I didn't know that.
Guess not, but
It looks like we do have it as status blocked in the board. That might be
yeah,
good enough.
Oh, okay, yeah. But
as close
I
as we
just
can
wanted to
get.
clarify what the issue it's blocked on is, and maybe like would that help fix it?
So the ASO issue is basically that since CabZ allows you to, on a per cluster basis, target specific Azure clouds like GovCloud, Public Cloud, whatever, ASO doesn't let you do it that granularly.
Oh,
So this issue is to make that more granular in ASO. So then we would still need to make some change in CabZ to set that configuration. But that configuration isn't available to us yet.
got it. Thanks.
Okay. Workload ID UX. I mean, this is still something we're generally speaking working on. I am assigned to it. I think I'm going to leave this one. Okay. This is not going to happen for this milestone, so I'm just going to remove it. It is still something we want to do, but essentially other things are in front of it. Although not far away from working, but let's take it off the milestone. Configure controllers to watch ASO resources. Anything to update here?
Yeah, I don't think anybody started on that, but I thought it was a high priority item based on some of the things that I was experiencing with the deletion stuff, as well as another issue that somebody else had on the deletes cleanup side of things.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think anybody started on it.
I'm
I
not
mean,
quite as convinced that issue will, or closing that issue will actually fix those delete things, but it'd be,
But it certainly should help, though, in general, reconciliation with the efficiency of the underlying product, right?
yeah, it'll make things marginally faster.
we think we have a fighting chance of doing this in the next few weeks, or should we move it to a different milestone?
I think it would take a day of work if someone sits down to do it.
Okay,
So I'd say keep it for now.
sounds good. Test upgrades of CAPC installations that manage AKS clusters.
Yeah, I'm working on that in Cappy.
All right.
It's like if anyone wants to review it, actually, that would be great. I think Christian's already reviewing it, but I think just to speed it up, I think it's at a place where it's working and reviewable.
Awesome. I assume that's linked in here. The PR?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or not the PR, but the issue, I think.
Okay. But we can find it by drilling through here. We don't need to. All right.
Yeah.
Calico, I don't know what's going on here. Oh yeah, this is James's draft PR. I'm just going to take this off the milestone because he doesn't seem like he's been able to get back to it. Consolidate duplicate webhook logic. Still a good idea. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. John, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I think this is still good to do. I don't know if it's super critical to hit before the milestone. And it would probably, I mean, it's probably a lot of kind of tedious work, but I guess my hunch is that we probably won't land this in the milestone, but I would like to see this or punt this maybe to vNext because I would like to tackle this kind of soon.
AKS adoption, E2E test, and docs.
Yeah, this should be ready for review. I think I've addressed all of Willie's comments and
Okay,
yours.
I will take another look.
Yeah, same.
Great. And that covers, oh no, that doesn't really.
Yeah, I think that PR should close this issue.
Okay, awesome. Wow, okay, public support Helm chart. I don't know if we want to get into this.
I think let's let that one, let's leave it as is for now. I don't think, it doesn't sound like we're going to, but let's
Sure.
wait on it. Just leave it.
I saw on the PR, Nellie's last comment was, hey, I'd be willing to do this, but I need another email address, someone else who's volunteering to be a maintainer, basically prompting one of us. So I'd be willing to do that if nobody else is. If that's what she needs to get unblocked and update the PR, then maybe I just volunteer my email address unless somebody else is already on it.
Yeah. I don't think that's the thing that's blocking us from merging it right now, right? So
No, but that was the last
yeah.
question she had, and if she went, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if that effort is to continue, and I think at this point we'd like it to land somewhere else, it's totally reasonable to ask.
Right. Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Maintenance help and
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense.
This I have not been able to reproduce. I don't think I'm going to get traction on it, and I followed his most recent instructions, and I just haven't. So let me go follow up with him. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, just be good to make sure you comment that you can't repro it and then,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think also realistically, it's probably not going to happen for this milestone. So
Yeah.
I'll go make that update.
I would just clear it. Yeah. I can do it.
Well, I'll just tell him where I'm at, and then I'll do it. And I'm just going to do it
Okay.
offline.
Okay. All right.
Add option to enable monitoring on cluster. Oh.
Yeah. I think this one, I actually did verify it works. But I was just asking about the config part of it. Because I verified that it got installed using that extension, but the configuration part is the part I didn't test and was kind of waiting to see for that. But I think we could probably just leave it as is and call it done. Yeah.
Sure. Maybe I should ping him since it's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
Uh, there's another ask. Can we enable storage for managed clusters?
Yeah, and that one just needs test.
Okay.
I think it should work, but I just need to test it or something. Yeah.
We need to. You need to test manually, or we need to write some tests around it.
No. I need to manually just test to see if that config actually deploys the service.
I see. Okay. Okay, we talked about uppercase letters. This is creating an AKS cluster. Is that mapped to this exact same issue? Is it really about the resource group, or is this something?
Yeah, this is the issue. It just
Okay,
was discovered via AKS cluster.
gotcha. All right. And add an FAQ to AKS doc. Oh, that'd be great. And David Tesser's going to do this apparently. So guess we'll leave that one.
Yep, you can leave it.
Okay. Anything else we want to fly over, add to the milestone, anything like that? I'll take that as a no. So I think we're good for today. Unless someone has a last minute comment. All right. Cool. Thanks for coming, everybody. We will see you in a week.
Thanks, Matt.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Matt. See ya.